So today we received the news of our very highly worshipful and esteemed God sister, Srimati Umadidi. She has now left this world at 6:30 something this morning. So it's mixed happiness and sadness, because there's no question she was a pure Vaishnavi. No question. And her sadhana was so exalted. And her preaching, her understanding of philosophy, and her moods. So, only Krishna knows, but we can certainly understand that she has gone to an extremely auspicious situation. And we are very happy for her. Yes. She's almost 90 years old. She was also traveling for almost 10 years in her late 70s and 80s. All over the world, traveling, preaching. She did a lot of seva. So we're very happy that we had her association in this life for many years. First time I met her was in 1994. So that's like what? It'll be 30 years ago next year. And I had a lot of association with her. I also saw her in America, in Europe, in different places. Hawaii. And she was traveling and preaching. And the thing about Umadidi is that she was loved by everyone. I did not know or ever heard of one single person who had a negative mood towards her. So she was truly a Vaishnavi, and when a Vaishnavi leaves this world, then the world is less fortunate. Less fortunate. But at any rate, now we can contemplate her life, her moods, her examples, and in this way we can associate with her. Rani. So just as we are speaking, around this time they are going to take her body to the burning ghat in Vrindavan at the Yamuna. And that will take a few hours for that to take place. So we were fortunate to have her association. All of you know her, yes? I don't think anyone here does not know her. Yeah? Everyone had her darshan and her association? Yeah? But you never saw her in person?
Just her.
Okay. You heard her, Slisha. Okay. That's also meeting her. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to begin our katha. Amrukanta Prabhu, you want to say the Jaya Dvani?
Yeah. Shri Guru Gurani Ganda Gandhiri Jai Shri Radhena Kenai Shri Lakshana Sanuki Shri Radha Gopinath Ki
Jai.
Jai. Nitirila Prabhu Swami Maharaj Shishma Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Swami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai. Nitirila Prabhu Swami Maharaj Shishma Shri Raisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai. Nitirila Prabhu Swami Maharaj Shishma Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ki
Jai. transcendental Tirubhav of Srimati Uma Didi ki.
Yeah, when I heard this, now many memories come, from meeting her, and how I was talking to her a few times, She was in Stuttgart, she was also cooking even, like 4 or 5 years ago, she went to Stuttgart and was still cooking something, not the whole thing, but 1 or 2 preparations,
Everywhere she went.
Yeah.
Not one single place where she went, she did not cook. She cooked every place that she went. Why don't you tell any memories that you have of her?
Like flashlights he came, so not so deep, but this and this and here.
Yeah.
Now once I drove her to the airport.
Oh.
Like this, and in the end, I took her hands, and have a good flight,
She was preaching in Germany, or
yeah.
was she at the festival of Gurudev, or?
No, but she came for some days, always to Stuttgart.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Because they had a temple there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's only memory.
Yes, I was looking at memories, not memories, but just postings of devotees today, to find out if there was any more details like that. But her passing was so auspicious because, for a few days, I understood that she had some kind of difficulty breathing. And for that reason, she went to the hospital. We have not heard any details of, like the external physical cause. But we got the news last night that the doctors told her that there's nothing more that we can do to help you. So then they brought her back to Gopinath Bhavan, which was her desire. Yeah. And what more auspicious place could there be? Right next to Imli Tala, on the bank of the Yamuna. And she's living there for the last probably like 4 or 5 years, I think. She stopped traveling some years ago. Oh yeah, you had lots of association with her.
Yes, she always very transcendentally answered on my questions. We was walking with her on morning walks. Every day we bring her with Ranga Didi on morning walks. And I'm always questioning. And she's such answering, like she was not answering, but I understand whole picture, like she put on me, like this impression of this answer. And this how I understand that she's pure devotee.
Yeah. She was living
3 years.
For the last 3 years in Gopinath Bhavan.
With her.
So she had a lot of association with women.
I'm making massage to her every evening with her feet and just present.
Да, мне тоже посчастливилось. Она была у меня дома с программой 5 дней. Это были незабываемые дни. Она жила прямо у меня, готовила, да, каждое утро она стояла, готовила. Хоть мы готовим, она все равно готовила.
She was in Sochi. Gaurangi said she was in Sochi for 5 days and she preached there. Also, she was working all this 5 days.
Когда?
Когда? Я не скажу, какой год, может быть, 4 года назад. Точно.
4 years ago.
Точно была. Мы ей показывали город, она внимательно смотрела пароходы, показывали до гору. Хорошая программа. И такая любовь от нее всегда исходила прямо нереально, нектар, нереально.
5 days. Пятая.
Да, с рангой.
So many memories now coming.
I was always, when she was in Stuttgart,
Yeah.
I was always sitting in the front, and sometimes she was looking for a word, and I could give her the word. So this is now it's happening to me also. Now sometimes I don't. It's old age now, So sometimes I'm looking for the words not coming. So it was nice, always something. So I did also some service in this way.
I remember in Hawaii, she was coming every year for more than 10 years. She's coming every year and visiting to Hawaii. And in Gurudev's Sangha, there are 3 islands in Hawaii where his devotees and disciples are. So she would go to each one of the islands. She would spend about 1 month. 1 month in Hawaii, and then on the big island, there would be a festival. For a few years, there was a festival in January. So we had a lot of association with her. And because her programs were scheduled already, pre-scheduled, so myself and a few other Western sannyasis, we were also there in Hawaii, but we went to her programs at devotees' houses. And I saw her many times, giving her pranam to Guru Varga and her Mangala Charan, and then speaking. And she was very accurate. She was very clear in her understanding. She also spoke English reasonably well, actually. And but I remember there was a public program that was arranged for her, with just ordinary people being invited to one restaurant. The restaurant was closed, but it was a devotee restaurant.
In America,
in Hawaii. In Hawaii. Yeah. And when I came there, I was asked to be the translator for her. Although she was speaking in English, but the average people, American people, they couldn't follow so well her accent, And so I became her English translator to convey what she was saying, and I would also tell something, in addition to what she said. So, yeah, so many years. First time was 1994, and that's the first time I came on the Braj Mandala Parikrama with Gurudev. Although I was with Srila Narayan Raj for about 6 years already, but I didn't have a chance to go on the Braj Mandala Parikrama. So in 1994, myself and many other of my god brothers and god sisters, we went. And that's when we met Uma Didi. And we were on the buses every day. And Uma Didi would be sitting there on the bus, and so many devotees were anxious to hear from her what was her experience, because she lived in Keshavji Gaudiya Math for many years. She was a completely renounced lady. She had never been married. You're going to say something?
Devananda Gaudiya Math?
No, in Keshavji Gaudiya Math, in Mathura. I don't know the exact chronology of her history, but perhaps she also stayed at Devananda Gaudiya Math for some time. We'll find out more. I'm sure there will be some biographical sketch of her life.
We was making a Padmanabha, we making video for her. She very speaking about Chinchura. It's her place Chinchura.
Oh, her memories of Chinchura.
Yes, she always speaks to us. We all do this Manjulari asking tell to us something about her, and she all time Chinchura. And I want to go there. But Maharaj promised to bring me there, because Uma Didi promised to bring there. But now we will go.
Is she from there?
Chinchura.
That's where she's
yes,
born?
It's her place.
Yeah, in Chinchura.
Yeah. And she was so sweet memory about this Chinchura. Had lots.
Yeah. She also had a very deep relationship with Srila Trivikram Maharaj. And of course, her Guru Maharaj, Srila Padmanabha Swami Maharaj, very, very deep relationship. Her life was a perfect example, actually. And we can say that for both males and females, she really was an ideal example. And it's pretty rare nowadays that women, jivas in the woman's body, don't go through family life or marriage or like that. But actually she showed how this was the supreme good fortune in her case, because she utilized her life. Although she came a little bit late. I think she was already 40-something when she came to the modern life. She's born in a very wealthy family, I've been told. Very wealthy family. But she left everything. Trivikram Maharaj helped to coax her. Oh yeah, now I'm remembering. I think it was Trivikram Maharaj who used to tell her, because she used to visit the temple, and then he was encouraging her to start to wear tilak. Right? Wearing tilak. And then he began to tell her every day when she would come, that she was wearing the tilak, he would say, "You look so beautiful." And she liked that so much. So like this, one thing about her was she was very small, very short. But her presence is like my Srila Prabhupada. My Srila Prabhupada was also short. He was not tall. But his presence was so great, so big. Maharaj, you want to sit here?
Anywhere.
Well, this is a good spot for you and for me.
Oh, why?
Because the closer you are,
Huh?
the closer that you are to me,
Yes.
the more transcendental inspiration will come from you to me.
I think it's coming from Bon Maharaj.
Possibly.
Possibly.
He's also. What is this? Yeah, so we're remembering
Nice to meet you.
Srimati Umadidi and remembering some of our, interactions with her like that. And so yeah, when she was in her 40s, I believe, then she came to the Mat. And soon she took initiation from Srila Padmanabha Swami Maharaj. But actually she was always very, very much attracted to Srila Narayan Maharaj. And this is one of the relationships that they had between the three pillars, Srila Trivikram, Srila Maharaj, Srila Narayan. That they had like a saying that Srila Vaman Maharaj is like Lord Brahma. Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, He was like Lord Brahma because, Lord Brahma is giving birth. So, Srila Vaman Maharaj as the Acharya, he would initiate so many. And then, Srila Narayan Maharaj, even his name, Narayan, he's like Vishnu. He would take all the children and maintain them and nourish them, And then Srila Trivikram Maharaj was like Lord Shiva. Why? He was like Lord Shiva because he would be very heavy in speaking the truth and destroying, misconceptions. So like that. But she stayed so many years in Keshavji Gaudiya Math as a single lady, Vaishnavi. And, her whole life was filled with very, very excellent level of Krishna bhajan. Always doing her Harinam bhajan. Always.
She was holding us. She was holding all of us in Gopinath Bhavan. She was like this all 3 years. She was hold all of us. She was our center.
Holding like babies in her lap.
Like this, like some connection. Even we not often sometimes see her. I all time running to her every day.
Yeah.
But anyway, she like when I go on the West, she tell me she like very serious. She not flickering. She surely know how should be, how it is, very clear. And when I go on the West, she like tell me, you will come back. This. I pray for you. Hold on, you can do it. And she like even when I was there, I feel this connection. It's like some wire. And now I feel that she is happy. All night yesterday I was not sleeping. Today when she left the body, we was making such amazing kirtan with Navadvip Maharaj. And I feel this, not any sorrow, not any, like, all is completely auspicious.
Yeah.
She is very happy.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way that it can be.
Yes.
Because for such a Vaishnavi, there is no sorrow in leaving the body. There's actually only joy.
For us it's painful.
Yeah, for those who are left behind, but that pain is also very purifying. The mood of separation.
We will meet her again. She will come back. We will see her. She will not go far. We will be together again.
Yeah, that's true. If we also try to follow her example in our life, then we will have her darshan again, most certainly. But we will not recognize, oh, there you are, Umadidi.
She was loved by the whole world, more than any sannyasi.
Oh yeah.
When we arrived in Miami, we were with Padmanabha Maharaj. We were supposed to go to one place, but last moment, Umadidi arrived unexpected, and we had to be replaced by her. We had to go and find another place. She was so prominent, you know. I mean,
I was mentioning that there's never any single person that didn't like her or had something against her. She was always liked by everyone, and most devotees had great love for her. You can see in the comments how devotees are expressing it. But what I was going to say is, like the first time that we were on the buses in 1994, the first Padmanabha Swami Maharaj, that was when I first saw her, you know, and devotees were asking her, because she had already been living there, I believe, for more than 20 years at that point. This is in 1994, so I think by the mid-70s she was already starting to live there. But at any rate, she actually experienced going, you know, many years before, going on the Braj Mandala Parikrama with a small group of brahmacharis, you know, and Gurudev himself. And at that time, they just got on the back of tractors. You know, the tractors that have the big thing in the back. They just jumped into there, because that's transportation in Braj. You know, you want to go from one place to another, you just jump in the back. It's public transportation, you know. And she said, their life, living in that simple way in Braj, and just going from one dharmashal to another, and cooking on the side of the road with a small kerosene stove like this, she said it was so happy. It was so sweet to be with Gurudev like that. They didn't have any big buses and busloads of devotees and hundreds of devotees pushing, and you know, it was very wonderful. So she used to tell us what it was like to be with Gurudev in that kind of condition, circumstances.
she was also like the mother of Cheta Maharaj. You know?
Oh yeah.
He was listening to her, but nobody else.
Yeah.
She would give him instructions, and he would like follow her, you know. And when he left this world, she felt like nobody can tell him now anymore. You know, he is completely free from any criticism or anything.
Mm.
Like, she was like, okay, now he's free from every pressure coming from the outside. You know. She was and she glorified him so much. You know. One time also I asked her, I read that when we go back to, let's say go back to Golok Vrindavan, we will not mix with the core of devotees. We will serve from a distance. Narottam Das Thakur, one book, he write. I said, this is very, very disturbing to me. I told to her, I said, you ask Gurudev about this tomorrow. Please, you ask Gurudev whether it is true or not.
Right.
It is already difficult to come to Krishna consciousness for a Western boy like me, from south of France, the worst place in the world. And then, now we are in the Keshavji Gonyamat, after so many endeavors, going through ISKCON, this, like this. And now we have to, when we go back...
Serve from a distance?
Serve from... What? I said, do ask Gurudev about this.
Okay.
And the next morning I called her, I said, did you ask Gurudev? She said, yes. I said, what did he say? He said, yes, we will serve from a distance, but after some time, very sweet, very quick, we will mix with others.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, good, then we can go on. So, yeah. You imagine, if you go back there, you have to serve from a distance, all eternally. You have to get this. No possible.
I think she is a Rupanuga Vaishnava, definitely. She's Rupanuga. She had perfect understanding what is the Rupanuga conception, and she was living.
Preaching this also.
Yes, preaching and also living. That was the main thing, is her living. Wherever she would go, every day, she would do her 1 lakh of japa. She would cook for at least 1 or 2 hours every day, no matter where she was. But if she came to a place where there was the Govardhan Puja, like in Badger, California, and also in India, she would stay up all night long, practically, cooking so many preparations to offer to Giriraj, And she always had all the ladies. In Badger there's a house, and then all the ladies were sleeping on the floor like in Brahmacharini ashram, And everyone loved her so much. And she loved everyone in exchange also. She had so much appreciation, love and affection for all the devotees. So she was really like the mother. She had that role that she played of being like the mother to all the devotees. Because mother cooks for you and feeds you and maintains you, right? So she was like the mother as far as her cooking. And also she was feeding everyone with her Harikatha. So, it's very rare, I was saying, in the Kali Yuga, to find a person who has lived a life so pure like hers, and without attachment. In a female body, not as easy to become detached, especially if they have children and so forth. But in her case, she was meant to do bhajan in this life. Krishna arranged that. How fortunate she was. She reaped the highest benefit of the human form of life. So, I have no doubt that she's, it's inconceivable to us even, what association, maybe even in the Bom Lila of Mahaprabhu, could be in the Bom Lila. Or at least near to that, like Gurudev said, time of Narottam Das Thakur, So, very fortunate to have association, someone like her.
She was such fearless, all time she was such fearless. She, old body, and she all time we going on parikrama. She was amazing energy.
Yeah, and so elderly even, in her old age, 80 plus, I think she was almost 90 years old.
She's 90.
She already turned 90?
90, just few days, weeks ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, 90.
So she was 90. Yeah.
She was born in 1933.
Okay. Yeah.
23. offering sweet rice to Nishinga Dev.
Which
Nishinga.
Oh, Nishinga
Because when we arrived, she would give us sweet rice from Nishinga Dev. So today, somehow or other, I was invited to go there by rickshaw. We did the whole parikrama, Suvarna and Harihara. Then we went to Nishinga Pali.
Who went with you?
One Haridev, from Gupsanatha.
Okay. Because he was going to leave to go to where Maharaj is preaching.
Not so.
You sure? He told me that.
Okay.
When he came.
And then arriving in front of Nishingadev, I thought about Umadidi offering sweet rice to Nishingadev. Very nice. So I offered, in my mind, sweet rice. I made sure that Nishingadev was taking something. I wait and I push. I said, please take sweet rice from Umadidi. And he took something. I was very happy with it. He was so sweet. Also, at the end of after going through many difficulties, at the end of her life, the last time I was with her, she was in a wheelchair and taking darshan, and the lamps would come out. The lamps, what we do like this.
Yeah.
I would take the lamps and I would offer to her first. She would not accept it, even before me also. So I insisted, and then I look at her face, she was like an angel, She was so sweet, and then she would push the, the smoke, not the smoke, the flame towards me, like this. But I was like above her, I could see her face like this, She looked so sweet, I couldn't believe it, I was so happy to do that. She was really marvelous at the end of her life, completely. Transcendental personality, completely transcendental.
She all time giving. She all time tried to give.
Huh?
She all time tried to give.
Yeah. She was giving. How many times also, Maharaj? I was, I am the person who is always hungry, because of thyroid problem. Also my problem, but and I would go to her room, and I would push the door like heavily. I said, do you have anything for me? And what's her name? Raga? Raga. She would say, okay, we will see. Let's see what we have. And she would ask Umaridi, we have something for Maharaj? She would say, yeah, give him this, give him that, give him that. So she would go and pick up a big bag of a mixture, like Bombay mix. Okay. She would give me so much, And sometimes I would tell Ranga, do you have anything in the kitchen? She said, no. I said, be careful, I can attack the kitchen anytime. You have to give me something immediately, otherwise I will attack the kitchen. She said, okay, don't worry, we will give you something. So natural mood, nice mood, Madhini. She would always be very, very, generous. No miserly mood, attachment to anything, She would give anything. And big quantity also, Maharaj. Big quantity. So nice. I remember that in Keshavji Godama, she would catch the mouse, that's coming, She had a little cage, the mouse. And from the second floor, she would empty the cage from the second floor, and the mouse would go and splash, and the mouse and crush it. So funny. But the mouse would never come back to the mat. Would not come back to join the mat again.
All right, well, all glories to Srimati Umadidi ki. Srimati Umadidi Tirobhav Maha Mahotsava ki. Gaura Premananda.
In France we had a group of Gurudev disciples. So we agree with Raganuga Bhakti and all the, teachings which goes with that. And Bon Maharaj and Umaridi were preaching these things there. But there was another group, who are not so open, who like different types of, associations from different angles, and they are not open to this Raganuga Bhakti. And Umaridi, she was coming and she was speaking about these things, and she was convincing them, She was so strong, and Bon Maharaj also so strong, And slowly, they were like accepting, But so difficult to go through that, this. I was there, I lived there for 3 years, I saw when they were coming, And they need to hear these things, And Umaridi, she was so strong. And the story about Dhruva, when Dhruva goes to the forest, he never heard about what Hari looks like, Because her mother said, sages goes to the forest to find Hari. So she was telling this story I never heard before. She was telling that when Dhruva Maharaj went into the forest, he was looking for Hari. So he was calling, Hari, Hari! And the lions and the bears were so attracted to human flesh, Boy, very new boy, human flesh. And they were like, now our meal is coming into the forest, let's go and eating him. But Dhruva Maharaj didn't know what Hari looks like. So when he would see a tiger, he would say, Hari, Hari, And Hari means tiger, lion also. And he would embrace the lion, thinking, it is Hari. And the lion like, no. He couldn't do anything against Dhruva Maharaj because he was so pure, So pure. In this way she was telling the story, I couldn't believe that. And last time we went to Dhruva, during Kartik, I told the story like this. Everybody laughing. And everybody saying, Hari, Hari, Hari.
I never heard this. I never heard this.
You never heard this?
Never.
That's why. Did you never hear Umaridi speaking about Dhruva Maharaj?
I couldn't understand.
Yes.
This is
I
the
couldn't.
problem.
Special quality to understand him.
So difficult.
Anyway.
Okay, we're going to continue now with our discussion of the Upadeshavali, teachings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Yeah. Which are in our songbook, Upadeshavali. So, the other day we began with the first one. First of 24. 24 different separate teachings. Purve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Vancha Kalpataruvashcha Kripa Sindhumevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.
Valentine's Day.
It is?
Yeah, 14th of February.
Day of love and affection.
Yeah.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It's today?
Today.
Oh, really?
For devotees, every day is Valentine's Day. Offering flowers to Krishna, offering bhog to Krishna and his associates. This is the real Valentine. In the material world, they can only have one day a year when they try to be loving and affectionate. You have to do that on Valentine's Day. But in Vaishnavism, eternally, every day.
She chooses this day.
And it's the highest love. It's the ultimate Valentine's Day. Ultimate. Srimati Radhika's Valentine to Krishna.
All world love her. That's why she chose this day.
Okay, so Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gaura Triti Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalamashanashaya Janava Pataye Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Ramani Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulsidev Bhai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare My Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Tarasata Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarasata Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarasata Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. My Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga and my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis headed by Tridandi Sannyasi and Sripad Bhaktivedanta Shroti Maharaj. So, this first Upadeshavali of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada we discussed to some extent the other day, but not fully. So, I'm reading this Upadeshavali. He's telling Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, supreme victory to the congregational chanting of Krishna's names. This statement, supreme victory to the congregational chanting of Krishna's names, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, this is the Sri Gaudiya Math's sole object of worship. So what does that mean? Sole object of worship. Oh, we have the deities of Radha and Krishna on our altar. We are worshipping them. We are worshipping the deities of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and our Guru Parampara. But here he's saying that this movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is the supreme glorification and victory of what? Sri Krishna Sankirtana, the chanting of the holy names of Sri Krishna. We told the other day, why Sri? Sri Krishna. Because this means Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Sankirtanam it also means the complete chanting, the perfect, the pure chanting of the holy names of Krishna. That can only be the supreme absolute object of our worship. And who is that? None other than the divine couple of Braja, Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, Jugal Kishore, Radha and Krishna. They are the supreme object of our worship. Why is he saying here that this Sri Krishna Sankirtanam is the soul? Soul means only. is the only object of worship of the Sri Gaudiya Math. This is the only object of worship, is the Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So what does this mean? This means that Sri Krishna Sankirtan is Krishna and Radha combined. There is no other objective of our worship than the chanting of Krishna's holy names. The chanting of Krishna's holy names is everything. If someone is going to advance in their bhakti to the perfectional stage, it will only happen through the chanting of the holy names. Is there any other way through which it can happen? Yes. But if you don't chant the holy names? No. Everyone will have to chant the holy names. This is the process. This is the process which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made very, very clear when he gave the famous verse everyone knows, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevala, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatir Anyata. Only through the name of Hari, Krishna, Harer Nam, the names of Krishna. 3 times it is telling. And then telling 3 times, Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. In Kali Yuga, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So, if someone is to become successful on this pathway of Krishna Bhakti, it will necessitate that we will completely absorb ourselves, like in the 8th shloka of the Upadeshamrita. Again, we're quoting that shloka, because this is like a Upadeshamrita, Manasiksha, Shikshastakam, all combined together, these discussions. So, Krishna's names is the process. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are the inaugurators in this Kali Yuga. There is told in the first shloka of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. First shloka. What is that shloka? Ajanulambata bujo kanakavadato samkirtanaika pitaro kamalaya taksho vishwambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro. Here, 2 persons are being spoken of. Who? Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And here it is saying, in each statement of this first shloka, it is saying both of them. So, Ajanulambita Bhujau, when it says au, A-U at the end, it means 2 in Sanskrit. Ajanulambita Bhujau, they had very long arms, both of them. Yes. When I see the Panchatattva here, our huge, gigantic Panchatattva in the front, up on the first floor of the Samadhi, I love to see their forms. They are so beautifully crafted. So everything about their arms, their eyes, their everything. And they were about that big almost. Mahaprabhu, almost like 7 feet tall. Yes, Mahaprabhu was almost 7 feet tall. And Nityananda was also tall. Not as tall as Mahaprabhu. So, Ajanulambita Bhujo means that they're from the spiritual world. Because their arms touch their knees. An ordinary person in this world, unless they are highly advanced spiritually, you will not find that their arms are going to touch their knees. This is a symptom of persons who have descended from the spiritual world. In Vaikuntha, in Goloka Vrindavan, all have these transcendental forms. Kanakavadato means that their forms are golden color, like molten gold, extremely effulgent and beautiful. Samkirtanaika Pitaro. So here it's telling Samkirtan Eka Pitaro. They are the founders, the inaugurators. Like a father gives birth, so they are the Pita, the Pitaro, the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. They have inaugurated. They have brought into existence this chanting of the holy names of the Lord, this movement. Mahaprabhu descended when? When the full moon was being eclipsed. And at that time, Yogamaya arranged that there was the lunar eclipse at the time of Mahaprabhu's birth. And when the eclipse comes in India, everyone wants to go into the Ganga because something inauspicious may happen. But in the Ganga, you're protected. And not only that, but it's also been a custom since time immemorial that they're in the Ganga and they're also chanting Hari, Hari Bol, Hari. Even ordinary people, you know. So thousands and millions of people were chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol at the moment when Mahaprabhu descended. Yeah. And then, when Mahaprabhu manifested his baby form, he would cry all the time for the first days. And the local people would be so mesmerized by his beauty, they would come, especially the ladies, they would come. And then when he would cry, they would clap their hands and they would sing. And they would do kirtan. And then immediately he would smile. He'd stop crying and he would smile, big smile. And then as soon as they would stop again, then again he would cry. And this is going on continually. So even from the moment of his entering, he is giving the chanting of the holy names. So Samkirtanaika Pitaro. Gaur Nityananda are the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. Samkirtanaika Pitaro Ajanalambita Bujo Kanakavadato. Oh yeah, Samkirtanaika Pitaro. Kamalaya Taksho. Kamalaya Taksho means that their eyes are very elongated. This is another symptom of the spiritual body. That the eyes are all going very far towards the ears. Very big, very beautiful eyes. Like a lotus petal. Shaped like a lotus petal. Yeah? Kamalaya Taksho. Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo. Vishwambaro means that they are the protectors and nourishers of the whole universe. Vishwa means universe. Mahaprabhu's birth name is Vishwambara. But actually both of them are Vishwambara because their activity is to protect and nourish everyone in the whole universe with what? With Krishna Prema. With Krishna Prema. Vishwambaro Dvijavaro. They both took birth in very, very elevated, pure Brahmana, Vaishnava families. Vishwambaro Dvijavaro. The best, they were the best amongst the Dvija, the Brahmanas. And Yuga Dharma Palo. They are the, they are the protectors of the Yuga Dharma, like Pala, like Gopala. Yuga Dharma Palo is like protecting the cows. You see, Krishna is called Gopala. Gopi, Gopa, that means protecting the cows, Go. And also other meanings. But in this context, that Yuga Dharma Palo, they are the protectors of the Yuga Dharma. In this age, this Kali Yuga, because it's the Yuga called the very fortunate time. Very fortunate time. Danya Kali Yuga. Not ordinary Kali Yuga. So in this Kali Yuga, what is going on? Oh, the Sankirtan movement has been inaugurated. And therefore, it has become the Yuga Dharma. There will not be a Yuga avatar in this Kali Yuga who will come to teach. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they took that role. They took that role. So Yuga Dharma Palo, for this age of Kali, Hare Nam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva. There is no other way. There is no other way. No one will attain perfection without Harinam Sankirtan, without taking full shelter of Harinam. And we see in the lives of our great acharyas, every single one of them was deeply, deeply absorbed in their whole life in chanting the holy names. Look at Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, especially him. He was preparing the way for the new dissemination of the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to do that, he performed this Maha Yajna of 1 billion names. 1 billion names chanting. Yeah, not ordinary. All of our acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, anyone who was advanced, they were absorbed deeply in chanting and completely dedicated to chanting Harinam. Even our Srila Prabhupada, when we read the stories of devotees who knew him before, when he was in household life, they knew him at that time, in the book of Mula Prakriti's book. So there, they were telling that, yes, Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu, he was always chanting every day 1 lakh of Harinam. So he became perfected. Of course, this is a pastime, because these are eternal associates who are descending down into this world. But outwardly, they show to us how to live, how to achieve perfection. So, Yuga Dharma Palo, the Yuga Dharma of chanting the holy names of the Lord, Gaur Nityananda Prabhu, are the persons who have established this Yuga Dharma, establishing that. And then Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavataro. We can open the doors and windows a little bit now. Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavataro. This means I am offering my prayers to them who are Jagat Priya Karo, that they are dear, very dear to everyone in the whole universe, and because they are giving their affection and their love to everyone. Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavataro. And they are the avatars, the incarnations of what? Of mercy. They are Karuna avatars. They are incarnations of mercy. No other incarnation in any other yuga at any other time has been as merciful as these two lords who are Nityananda. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was the inaugurator of the Sankirtan movement, and therefore he spoke Sikshastakam. We mentioned this the other day. That there in the Sikshastakam are these words, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That is the last, we quoted that verse. Gauranga successfully recited that verse. And then Kamalakanta Prabhu explained the meaning of Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Because Vijayate means supreme victory. Do we want to be victorious in our life, or do we want to be losers? What do you think? Huh? Do you want to be a loser?
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel you.
No. You're either a loser or you're a victor. You have two choices. To be a loser, nowadays they use this word in English language. He's just a loser. It means somebody who never does anything, who never accomplishes anything, just a loser. We don't want to lose the human form of life. That's the biggest, most people are losers because they don't take to the practice of Harinam Sankirtan, and they lose the opportunity. That's the biggest loss. You know, the famous verse, Labdvasu durlabhamidam bahusam bhavante. That it's very difficult, very rare to get human birth. And therefore, one should utilize it immediately. Turnam yateta. One should immediately utilize the human form. and not be a loser. We want to gain. We don't want to lose. We want to gain, and we want to move forward in our spiritual life. We want to make progress. Towards what? What do we want to progress towards? What is our goal? We have some place that we're trying to go to. We have something that we're trying to achieve in our life. Is it just to eat 3 square meals a day? No. No. It's not just that. It's just to have a nice, comfortable bed and a place to sleep. Is that the goal of our life? Is it just to make money so that we can have unlimited sense gratification and buy whatever our senses are telling us to buy? Is that the goal of our life? What is the goal? What is the victory of our life? How will our life be victorious? How will it be victorious? When we achieve the supreme victory. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. We just saw our dear God sister, Srimati Umadidi. She just proved this. She just demonstrated this to everyone. And she has achieved the supreme victory of the human form of life. Right in front of our eyes. She was the living example of that. We should also do this. That will be our honoring of her memory. Not to just talk about how nice she was and how she cooked for everyone. No. But what did she demonstrate in her life? She was a living example. Living, breathing example of a perfect sadhak. Someone who never fails. Always, always steady, always fixed. We want to be like that. We want to achieve that in our life. So, if we follow this path given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, given by the 6 Goswamis, who are the direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, each and every one of our acharyas has demonstrated the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. You know the first shloka of the Sad Goswami Ashtakam. Shloka number 1. How does it begin? Krishnot kirtana gana nartana paro premamritam bonidhi dira dira jana priya priya karo nirmatsaro pujito Shri Chaitanya Pripabaro Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. So we're offering our obeisances to the lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis, who were Krishna Utkirtana Gana Nartana Paro. That means they were absorbed day and night in doing what? Krishna Utkirtana. Chanting. Nartana. Dancing. Krishna Utkirtana Gana Nartana Paro. Because why? Premam Ritam Bonidhi. They were diving into the nectar ocean of prema, continually. Premam Ritam Bonidhi. So they became like an ocean of prema, the 6 Goswamis, through the chanting of the holy names. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling us that this should be the supreme object of our worship in our human form of life. Is Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtana. Yes. Yeah.
Shri means Radharani, but it also means beauty and wealth. Along with some other meanings.
Sure.
Lakshmi also.
Yeah. But you know, her temple in Varshana is called Sri Ji Mandir, because she's the original Lakshmi. All Lakshmis come from her. And just like all incarnations come from Krishna, so all feminine forms of the consorts of the Supreme Lord, in all of his incarnations, they emanate from her. And also Shri means that she is the Shakti. Shakti and Shaktiman. So all beauty, all opulence, all wealth, all fame, everything comes from Srimati Radhika. Huh? And unlimited. Yes, infinite. Yeah. So, and the second one I'm just telling quickly. What is it? Okay. So, the second instruction is Sri Krishna, who is the Vishai Vigraha, or who he is the object of the devotee's prema. He is the sole enjoyer, and all others are to be enjoyed by him. Yes. Very simple philosophy. That's what I love about this Upadeshavali. Every single statement is so simple, but you have to apply it. So, is there anyone else besides Sri Krishna who is the object of the devotee's praying? He is called Vishai Vigraha. Vishai means object. Just like in this material world, sense enjoyment requires objects of enjoyment. So someone who's always trying to enjoy their sense objects of this world, they're called a Vishayi. You know, not a good thing to be a Vishayi. That's a very unfortunate position. You become the biggest loser by being a Vishayi. Okay? So, but Krishna is the Vishaya. He is the object of everyone's praying. We have to learn that lesson, because in this world we're all chasing after everything that is not Krishna and thinking, oh, I'll become satisfied by this. You know, I'll become happy. This is mine. This is mine. I want this. I want this. But actually, what we really want in the deepest place of our heart is Krishna. He is the object of our love and affection. So therefore, what's his position? He's the enjoyer. Govindamad Purusha. Purusha also means enjoyer. And all other individuals besides Krishna, they are enjoyed by him. Yeah.
You know, it was Uli von Neuenwagen, there was a Bhakta, and he asked him, what's your name? And he said, Ika Bhakta, Ika Bhakta, Ika Bhakta. So, who gave you this name? Do you remember this? Ika Bhakta, this is the only one enjoyer. Huh?
Yeah.
So that's Krishna. But he was very surprised, this name. He was, who gave you this name?
Who gave it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was somewhere in America.
Yeah. So, actually, we need to learn this, and we need to surrender to this fact that really Krishna is the enjoyer, and we're supposed to be enjoyed by him, not vice versa. Because when we are enjoyed by Krishna, it's the perfection of our existence. That is the perfection of our existence, to be enjoyed by Krishna. Because when he enjoys you, then you attain Krishna prema. That's the reward. When Krishna knows that this devotee, I am his only object, then Krishna gives that devotee prema. And that devotee becomes the secondary enjoyer. He becomes the secondary enjoyer of Krishna prema. And that is why the devotee is completely devoid of any other desire. Because that alone satisfies the heart of every jiva to the unlimited degree. Even they don't want liberation of any type. They don't even want to get free from the cycle of birth and death. They only want to serve Krishna with pure love. So this is how we become happy. We have to understand it theoretically, at least, in the beginning. That, oh yes, Krishna, he's the enjoyer, not me. And when people come first to the temple, they think, I'm the enjoyer, and here's God, and he's my supplier. So I'm going to pray to him for this, and for this, and for this, and for this. But Krishna also accepts that. If somebody worships him to get something, he also accepts that. Because at least they're worshipping him, you see, not a demigod. So gradually, our loving affection for Krishna will always expand. It's infinite. Prema is infinite. But in this material world, guess what? It's limited and temporary. Yes, limited and temporary. But everybody's expecting and hoping, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to have this relationship, and I'm going to have this wife, or this husband, or this children, and I'm going to be so happy. But guess what? It always ends in suffering. It's inevitable to end in suffering. Because if the attempt to enjoy is there, then the suffering is the automatic reaction. That's why devotees live in this world, and they accept what is coming as a result of their pious activities in the form of some kind of enjoyment. And they also accept whatever suffering is coming. And in this way, gradually Krishna purifies the heart of the devotee, purifies all the anarthas, and then the devotee becomes a surrendered soul at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is telling us, that Krishna is the only enjoyer. No one else is really an enjoyer. And all others, including his own expansions, you know that? Even Krishna's own expansions are to be enjoyed by Krishna. Yes? Yes. Because they're serving Krishna with love. And Krishna receives their love. All others. Ekala Ishwara Krishna Arsab Britya. The statement is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita that there's only one Ishwara, and that's Krishna. And Arsab Britya. All others are servants. So only Krishna is the supreme object of everyone's service. He is the supreme enjoyer. Gaur Premanand.
Well, Bhaktisiddhanta, he said something which is really striking. He said that when we don't serve Krishna and we involve in sense gratification, then we are depriving Krishna of his happiness.
Yeah.
That's really... when we think, oh, I am not disturbing anybody, I am just enjoying things. You know? But that enjoyment that we are taking on the side, whatever we do, depriving Krishna of his own happiness.
Yeah, you're a thief.
Yeah.
You're a thief. You're trying to take what belongs to Krishna. Anyone that's trying to enjoy their own senses, separate from Krishna, are thieves. Because your senses belong to him. Right? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. Krishna is the master of everyone's senses, and our senses are meant to serve him. Just like when you're sitting and you're making flower garlands every day. We have so many garland makers here. Because we have so many Thakurjis. And so many garlands have to be made every day. So here you're sitting with the flowers, and you're stringing, and trying to make as perfect and beautiful as possible. So that who will enjoy it? Krishna will enjoy it. Krishna will enjoy it. And Radha will enjoy it. Because Radha, she never enjoys separately from Krishna. Not one single bit, ever. She only enjoys in relation to Krishna for his service. Even when Srimati Radhika is showing man and telling that Krishna should stay away, and Krishna should not come into her kunja, and she has her guards stationed there at the entrance to the kunja. But her whole objective is to give Krishna happiness. There's not one single moment when Srimati Radhika is not thinking how to satisfy Krishna's senses. So we want to enter into that world. We're tired of this world where we have a dying, decaying material body which is full of suffering and which is temporary. And we want to enter into the eternal spiritual world where we will enter into Krishna's Leela and serve Krishna and serve Radha and serve all the associates of Radha and Krishna forever and ever and ever. This is not a dream and a fantasy. This is reality. It's not like in Christianity they have like an idea of heaven. But they think that when we go to heaven, then we're going to enjoy in heaven. Yeah, God is there, kind of. He's kind of there. I don't know if he's going to be there so much, but he's there. And we're going to go there to heaven. And even some Christians, they believe that their family members are going to be there, and even their pet dog, but they're going to be, forever in heaven.
Meet again.
Yeah. But this is all fantasy. The actual fact is that we have an eternal spiritual relationship with our Supreme Lord, who is the object of our love. And the only thing that's ever going to satisfy us is when we have developed that love for Him. So we should let go of these temporary efforts. We should take what is required for the maintenance of our body. Just like Krishna has given, He's given us very nice Krishna prasadam to maintain our bodies. Right? Did Krishna give us prasadam, or is He telling us to fast forever? No, He gave us Krishna prasadam. And we can take this Krishna prasadam and become purified and develop our love for Krishna, maintain our body, but not in the mood of I am the enjoyer. If we even with the deity worship, if you start to think I am the enjoyer, then your deity worship becomes very low level and not actual. Krishna is the enjoyer. So serving the deity, cooking for the deity, making garlands for the deity, or chanting the holy names of the deity, these are all meant to be done without any selfish interest, just for His benefit, for Krishna's benefit. And then we become happy. So gradually we will achieve that. Every single person who's sitting here, all the jivas who are sitting here in our various circumstances, where we came from and all of that, we're eternal servants of Krishna. And now we're in the perfected state that we can go to the spiritual world very quickly and very soon. We simply have to embrace the process. And we have to embrace the process of chanting Nam Sankirtan. Yes, we have to do seva, because the mood of service to Krishna has to be there in your Nam Sankirtan. But we should not neglect chanting the holy names, because this is how perfection will be attained. Every day we have to chant the holy names. And therefore, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Mahaprabhu told, always Kirtaniya Sadahari. That means continuously, non-stop, chanting the holy name of Krishna. One time our Gurudev told, I'm sure Maharaj has heard this before too, when Gurudev told, I am always chanting. He said, I'm always chanting. He says, when I'm in my wakeful state, I'm always chanting. Internally, even if he's speaking with someone. But chanting is going on. Then he says, and then, even when I go to sleep, I'm chanting. But only sometimes when I go into very deep sleep, then I may not be chanting, but otherwise I'm chanting. And how is that proven? When Gurudev had his open heart surgery, the person who was doing the anesthesia, giving the chemicals to they were waiting for him to stop chanting. Gurudev was continually chanting. And the doctor looked at the anesthesiologist and said, did you give him enough? I've given the maximum, I can't give any more. That doctor, after that surgery, he came to Gurudev and he practically surrendered at his feet. I say, I've never ever in my life seen anyone like this. So we should know that our acharyas are fully absorbed day and night, 24 hours a day in the holy name of Krishna. And that should be our example, that we should strive towards that, step by step. We cannot immediately become Mahabhagwat and chant 3 lakhs of Harinam, but at least we should try to give a certain amount of concentrated time every day for chanting Harinam and develop our relationship with Krishna in the form of Harinam. And then we will be happy. There is no other happiness. Without Harinam, not possible. Not possible. All right, we've spoken long enough, and everybody has to run to get some nice Mahaprasadam.
Otherwise it will be done.
Yeah, no, it will not be done right now. You have plenty of time right now. Yes, to get